with Oriental Orthodox, do you affirm some type of divine simplicity? Or with divine simplicity, you're basically saying that God's love is God's anger. The reason we can't take divine simplicity from an Islamic position, we have distinct names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran. So we have like Ar-Rahman, Ar-Rahim, Al-Hayy, Al-Qayyum. To say that all of these names and all of these attributes are the same, that is inconsistent from a Muslim position because they have clearly been distinguished in the Quran, from the Quran and from the Sunnah. We have distinct names and attributes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Another reason you can give, for example, I can be loving towards you and I can also be angry towards you, right? I have the free will to choose between being loving and being angry. If you're affirming divine simplicity, if God's love is God's anger, He doesn't have free will. You are limiting your concept of God to not having free will, because can God be loving and not angry towards you? But then God's love is God's anger. Why not?
Again, because there's a formal distinction between these things and how we receive them, right? So if we're talking about energies and how we receive stuff, that would be according to us, not according to God's energy, right? God's energy would be the same but applicable differently to different situations. For example, if you sin, for example, God will be just and He will have wrath for you. So that's out of His love to you, again. Because He loves you, He treats you firmly.
Can He choose to just selectively apply His anger, not His love?
His application of His wrath is His application of love. He is all love by definition, so He cannot cease to love you. It's impossible. When He's being wrathful, He is being loving in that wrath. That wrath is just how you've received it because you are a sinner. I'm not obvious.
Yeah, no, I understand. So for me, that's the reason, because you also said that God, whenever He is applying His wrath, He has to simultaneously apply His love.
Well, His wrath is His love.
We, as Sunni Muslims, we have a distinction between God's love and God's anger. And God has the free will to choose what He wants to do, because He's God at the end of the day. He's not limited by having, like, divine simplicity. It all comes back to every action and every attribute is the same, right? So it can kind of go into a modal collapse as well, which is not what I'm going to go into. Because if everything is the same, then the act of creation is also equivalent to His act of love. And then that also entails that God's creation is an eternal thing. So creation is eternal.